here with Tim Buckley. We got Chad Silver. We're having a lot of fun on this Thursday, or Friday Eve.
Right, I was like, wait, and then I had to think in my head, I almost thought it was Thursday,
Yeah.
but fortunately, it's or Wednesday, excuse me.
Oh, no, we
glad
don't want
it's
that.
Thursday.
We do
Oh,
not
I'm on
want to
the
go
other
back in
side.
time.
I think it's Friday.
Something that we do here on Thursdays, we talk about movies.
Yes.
So Manning Franks is in the house today. He is giving us a movie review of the new Pinocchio movie, which is obviously a throwback from way back in the day. You might be surprised what he has to say about this movie, so stay tuned. You'll also be able to ask him some questions in the comments. But first today, just 2 weeks into the new school year, and districts are facing several obstacles. One of the major challenges is attendance.
Winston-Salem Forsyth County School says right now they are about 1,000 students. There's about 1,000 students who failed to enroll or are chronically absent. The district has teamed up with Teach Tech U to help identify and locate those students.
Our main goal is to help the district locate those students who are missing, unenrolled, and those who are suffering from chronic absenteeism so that the district can focus their in-school interventions to help those students once they return.
So it is vital that all of our students are in school at every grade level, so therefore they can reach their full potential and have various opportunities in adulthood.
Now, last year, Winston-Salem Forsyth had 5,000 missing students. Leaders blame it on many factors, including the pandemic and parental job loss.
Alaman's Burlington County School System says it has 231 students unaccounted for. Social workers and graduation coaches are working to locate those missing students. We did reach out to Guilford County Schools for a similar update, and right now we are still waiting to hear back. So this is a big issue. 1,000 students, much of an improvement from last year with 5,000, but it's so important that these kids get to school so they can graduate on time, and as a lady in the interview said, so they can have a successful future.
It was shocking when we first learned about this. The district sent us this news release yesterday saying that they are attempting to find these missing kids, and everyone in the newsroom was just like, are you kidding me? There are 1,000 missing kids.
I think we underestimate how many parents probably don't have the resources to make sure that their children are in school, so it's important that, you know, we work with technology like they're doing to make sure that parents get the information they need to make sure that their students are enrolled in the classroom.
And I think it goes without being said how important it is that kids aren't out of school.
Yes.
I mean, you know, it can lead to a whole host of problems.
Yeah, we already worry about learning loss during the summer months. That's just 2 months. But if you have someone missing a whole year of school, that's just going to set them back further and further and further.
The good news is, you know, they say that a portion of these students likely transferred to a different district, and sometimes apparently the process to transfer schools is kind of difficult and time consuming, and so some parents just don't do it. So the hope is, my hope is, that a lot of these students just transferred and that's why they're missing,
And
because they're already going to another school.
Way less than 1,000. That would be great. Well, we're going to keep an eye on that one. For now, we're going to jump into some of our other headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, we are learning more about a car crash that killed 3 people, including a 7-week-old baby. Police say it happened last night on West Moore Street in Graham. One car crossed the center line, hit another car, and then caught on fire. A 23-year-old woman and the child died at the scene. A 43-year-old man was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. There were no other people involved in the crash. Greensboro police are also investigating a deadly car crash. It happened around 6:30 this morning on South Elm Eugene Street near I-40. We spoke with someone who works in the area and knew the man who died.
People who, one of them who struck with him, he's just passing through, coming the store to play the lottery, and they couldn't see. It was completely dark and he was trying to pass the road and they couldn't see, so one of the trucks hit him. So it is really tragic and unfortunate.
Police have not released details on the victim's identity or what caused this crash. This is a developing story. We'll let you know when we learn more information.
I'm kind of frustrated with the latest COVID data from the state. This graph shows COVID hospitalizations at the state level. The latest patient count is 1,068. It's 73 fewer than yesterday and the lowest number the state has reported in a week, but the progress has really been hard to come by over the past couple of weeks. I was tracking a gradual decline from mid-August to early September, but the last week kind of screwed that up. Now here's the 2-week moving average. The dotted line represents an average of the last 14 days. We'd seen a nice dip for a while recently, but now it's leveling off.
Novant Health says it has doses of the new COVID-19 booster targeting the Omicron variant. Doctors recommend waiting 3 months if you've recently recovered from COVID. Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist also has them, along with CVS and Walgreens. Cone Health is not offering the targeted shot yet, but plans to do so soon. Mental health and physical health are often treated separately, but health experts say the two go hand in hand. How a cousin duo is diversifying healthcare in the High Point area. That's coming up in the next 6 minutes.
Well, I feel like I'm saying the same thing every day, but the weather continues to be really nice. We are outside live in the weather garden right now where it is comfortable. We have a blue sky looking at Winston-Salem right now. Temperature of 80 degrees. The humidity still relatively low. It's a touch more so than yesterday, but not all that much. Your temperature is a little warmer than they've been as well. We're in the 70s up in the high country in Boone, upper 70s here in Greensboro and in Asheboro and Burlington, sitting in the low 80s at this time. But as I mentioned, we're still cooling off. We had a really nice cool morning earlier today with low temperatures in the 50s. We should be able to do that yet again, pretty close to 60 in some cities, but overall, it's a cool fall feel to start the day for tomorrow. It'll be very similar to what we saw for today when we were in the low 50s or upper 50s, and then again upper 70s, close to 80. Still no major weather systems that I'm tracking anywhere here in the southeast. All the action is offshore or in Florida, so we're good to go for more dry weather carrying us into the weekend. We do have a tropical system that we're keeping an eye on. This is Tropical Storm Fiona. It's been trying to get a little bit stronger, and this is something we're going to have to watch over the next 7 days. Still nothing to be too concerned about. We'll have more on the track in a later segment on this show, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Low 80s, that's where we're standing for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Humidity still not that bad, so it should be pretty comfortable. Next week gets warmer, but notice we're still dry without any rain chances.
And Tim, today is the perfect day to eat dinner out on the patio, so I asked you on my Facebook page, how are you taking advantage of this week's beautiful weather? Tracy Gatson says, loving it. Sat outside yesterday for a long time after work. Haven't done that in a while. Debbie Malloy wrote, I took the day off of work. I'm loving this weather. Vera Poole says, taking meditation breaks on my patio and listening to the sounds of nature. Larry McCraw, I'm going to be mowing mine in 2 neighbors' yards today. And then Melita Hatley says, opening my windows to let the fresh air in. That just sounds so beautiful.
Man,
I've absolutely loved today. I know yesterday I mentioned I wish we had an outdoor office so we could just work on our news stories outside. I mean, it's just, this is beautiful weather.
Tim's waving because he's like, yeah, I do have one.
Oh, yeah. I'm
outdoor
going to
office.
go hang out with you, Tim.
Hey, if you have Wi-Fi, that laptop works in the weather
Yeah,
garden.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Go right out.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to
yeah.
pull up a chair then.
You're welcome anytime. Hey, Larry sounds like a good neighbor, doesn't he? I wish he would
Yeah.
mow my lawn too.
Right. I'm sure you'd have to give him some goodies or something.
I guess so. I mowed mine today, and you know, usually I'm sweating like a pig. Today it wasn't as bad because that humidity is lower. I've been enjoying it.
And Tim, we were talking yesterday. I'm keeping my eyes out, Lauren, for some of these trees that have really high tops that are starting to change color a little bit. Tim, remind us of the ways or the times when leaves change. It's not just the cool temperatures.
Yeah, usually high country Boone area is more like mid-October, and then here in the Piedmont areas, we're usually like late October for peak color. But a couple rogue trees here or there, they can get their action going a little bit earlier.
Well, that gets me excited. Fall is my favorite season. I just love how cool it is. You know, you can wear a nice light jacket or maybe even some long sleeves today.
Let us know what you are doing on this beautiful end of summer day. Let us know on Facebook. And hey, while you're there, are you a member of our 4 to 5 club? We talk about things we don't discuss on the news. Just search for it on Facebook and click Join Group. Right now we have 1,300 members and we are growing, hoping to try to get to 1,500. We'll be right back.
Thursday, y'all, so we're talking about movies.
Manning
Woo-hoo!
Thursday, is that? I'm trying to come up with an alliterative way to make it.
It only worked if it was a Monday.
Yeah.
Movie Manning.
Just another Manning Monday. We should have you on Mondays. That would be good. Oh, and we got I almost had the panda cam back, but these are clearly
That would be
hippos.
cute if we had a panda cam.
I don't know. Manning, you're excited to be here.
I am excited to be here. I was not here last week and I missed it. So
Yeah, we
I'm
missed
excited.
you.
Thank
And
you.
so did the people on the live stream.
Oh, did they miss me?
They did. They said, "Where is our movie Manning?"
Oh, guys.
Something we were talking about earlier. What is the term for Pinocchio? This movie? It's a live action.
Live action or a live action readaptation, remake, whatever you want to refer to it.
Got it. Okay, and so apparently there are a lot of Disney movies that have done this, and I've said that I haven't seen any.
I just find that so hard to believe. I think we're gonna try to figure that out because there's so many of them.
And so you said you were trying to find a list. Are you found a list?
I actually have an official list for Disney, for the list, Wikipedia, for Disney live action adaptations and remakes of Disney animated films. That's a mouthful.
Wow.
Yes.
And hey, Facebook, while we're going through this, let us know what your favorite live action readaptation movie was.
Yeah, you said it a lot more eloquently than I did.
Right.
All right, so we have the from 1996 with Glenn Close, 101 Dalmatians.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Seen that one.
That one. 102 Dalmatians. with
Seen
Glenn
that
Close
one?
Again.
Nope.
Nope.
I own those movies.
Alice and Tim Burton's Alice in
Oh,
Wonderland.
I've seen that.
Hey!
Okay, there's one. I knew there had to be one.
Tim Burton's. Okay,
Okay.
that was such a good one. All right, Facebook, we're going to take a break, but we'll be back.
I'm excited to talk more about this.
This is a live look from London today, where mourners are paying their respects to the late Queen Elizabeth II. Her body is lying in state at Westminster Hall, the last destination before her funeral on Monday. If you saw some of the video we were showing you yesterday, just lines of people as far as the eye can see coming by to pay their respects. A lot of people getting emotional as they pass her casket. Imagine this moment for all of these people who live over there and have grown up under her rule. I mean, it must be a very emotional day for them. We will air the service in its entirety next week. Coverage starts Monday at 6 a.m.
A new healthcare clinic is bringing diversity to High Point by focusing on both mental and physical health. I went to find out what Mindful Innovations is all about.
And would Recovery Innovations be able to
Crystal Montague and Chris Robertson have a close bond. Not only are they both nurse practitioners, they're family.
So we're first cousins. We are approximately a month apart in age, and I'm the oldest. But we grew up together.
The High Point natives recently opened Mindful Innovations, an integrated behavioral health and primary care clinic. It's the first Black female-owned clinic of its kind in the area.
As a mental health provider, and looking at the gaps of disparities in healthcare, especially mental health, people are struggling in silence. And I wanted to be able to provide the services in the community, not only to the vulnerable populations, but also to diverse populations as well.
While Montague provides mental health care services to patients, Robertson focuses on primary care.
You know, when they're coming in to be treated for whatever their mental, emotional, psychiatric issues may be, they also have high blood pressure. They're also overweight. They also have high cholesterol. They may have a number of medical issues.
While often treated separately, the two say mental and physical health go hand in hand.
And there have actually been patients who have elevated blood pressure readings, and despite medication, it's still elevated. And it's not until they address what is causing their stress, it's not until they address what is affecting their mental and emotional health that their blood pressure improves.
Mindful Innovations held its ribbon cutting on September 1st, where members of the High Point Chamber of Commerce and city leaders were in attendance.
I love that they're bringing these two things together. As she mentioned, you know, I feel like, obviously I don't have a background in mental health, but I would imagine that these two things really go hand in hand.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And while they said this isn't a new integrated model, there are other clinics like that in other places of the country. It is quite rare. So they're trying to bring this service to High Point on a larger scale to meet a lot of people. They also talked about breaking the stigma of mental health. You know, a lot of people, they don't like to hear anxiety or depression. So she'll use terms like stress, like what is causing your stress? And we could figure out what's causing your stress, and like your high blood pressure, your cholesterol, it can start to go down.
And I mean, just making it easier for someone who thinks that they might have or need some help with their mental health, making it easier to find a place to actually go, because a lot of people aren't going to spend the time or the energy to try to find a place, even though they might need really need the help.
Great service, great tool, and I have all that information listed on our website. We'll be right back.
All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about our weather here at home, which remains very quiet, but also spend a chunk of time on the tropics. For us here close to the Carolinas, high pressure has still been in control. It'll keep us dry this weekend and pretty cozy for the most part with low humidity. It will be getting warmer day by day, and heading into next week, notice how there's more warmth building out to the west. That will eventually slide our way and make us a little toastier heading into next week. Now let's talk tropics. Here we are in North Carolina, and you can see there's a tropical system. This didn't exist a couple days ago, but it does now. It is called Tropical Storm Fiona. Winds are at 50 miles per hour. The good news is that it has not strengthened today. If you look closely, the first couple frames, you'll see the swirling area is right here, but this is the big blob of thunderstorms. What's going on with the storm system is that there are winds blowing from the west, pushing all the thunderstorms to one side. So it's very disorganized. We kind of call it a half storm right now. Here's why I think we should still pay attention to it. Even though it's weak now, it will continue farther off to the west, impacting Puerto Rico this weekend, the Dominican Republic by Monday and Tuesday. There's still potential well beyond early next week that it could curve out to sea, or it could come a little bit closer to the U.S. That's really far away, still 7 to 10 days away, but you'll see here why I still think it bears watching and will continue to keep you updated day by day. Nothing to stress over, but all options are still on the table as far as where Fiona could ultimately end up, as I said, over the next 7 to 10 days. So it's a ways out. We'll keep an eye on it for you. 7-day forecast. What's that big old box at the end of the 7-day? Well, that's the first day of fall, the fall equinox, 1 week away from now, and, well, 87, I don't know if it seems like fall, but that's what we got.
Hello? 1, 2, there we go. Okay, my mic was not on, so that was awkward. Whoops. All right, let's try that again. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, don't zoom in. No! Yes, I am. Can you hear me? That's the big thing. Love.
The latest live-action Disney film reaches deep inside the classic catalog. Directors revamped the 1940 film Pinocchio with a fresh set of characters and a whole lot of CGI.
But will it wow our movie critic Manning Franks, or instead of wishing upon a star, will it have him reaching for the remote? Let's find out.
I'm going to formulate an analogy for you, so humor me. Let's say that you want a fresh start by repainting your room. Naturally, you would pick a different color from the one that you currently have. In my opinion, that's the way that remakes should always approach a previously adapted work. Disney, on the other hand, doesn't seem to agree with me. They take their classic works and just make it a shade darker in paint and call it a live-action adaptation. Yet all I see is a branded cash grab that is an uninspired version of Pinocchio.
Hello, Pops.
Jumping jeepers. An almost real boy.
Based on the original Disney adaptation of the classic fairy tale Pinocchio, a little wooden puppet is on a mission to be a real boy after being granted life by a wish upon a star from a humble woodworker Geppetto. In his quest to complete his transformation, Pinocchio must learn from his friends like Jiminy Cricket about the valuable life lessons of honesty and trust, while avoiding the pitfalls that could lead him astray. Disney is known at this point for remaking their classic animated films ranging from Cinderella to The Lion King. It's expected at this point because money talks after all. Pinocchio, like many of these brand-affirming live-action adaptations, falls into the category of a black hole of originality. With a few exceptions and added side characters, Pinocchio attempts to seize upon the goodwill for the original 1940 version by offering no additional substance. Jumping over into another medium like live action makes the magic of the story feel as hollow as the wooden boy's head. The director, Robert Zemeckis, is a filmmaker who has made great films in the past, and with a cast like Tom Hanks and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the voice of Jiminy Cricket, one would hope there could be fun to have been had. Instead, you're left longing for the stylistic simplicity of the original, as this live-action film can't seem to justify its existence outside of monopolizing nostalgia for the House of Mouse. It uses the original as a crutch, never really standing on its own. Webster's Dictionary defines a remake when used as a verb as to make anew or in a different form. Well, Pinocchio did do it in a different form, this version anyway, and it just made me long for the original animated film, which I would recommend to watch on Disney Plus over this one. I'm giving the 2022 version of Pinocchio the distinction of being a movie to avoid. You can stream it if you want on Disney Plus.
Yikes! Have you done a movie to avoid before?
No, this is the
first
This
one.
is the first one I was trying to be given the
Going in.
distinction of a movie to avoid. Now, when I say movie to avoid, I'm not saying,
Avoid it?
Okay, I am saying that. I am saying avoid it. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world,
Sure.
but it's not worth your time, let's be really frank, especially if the original's on Disney Plus as well, too.
So one thing, and we've talked about this before the show today, was you didn't like that they didn't expand beyond what the original was. And honestly, for me, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I want to be able to live the nostalgia from my childhood. I don't need them to do anything else creative. I just want to see it in a different form.
And that is perfectly acceptable, which is why, of course, this is all my opinion at the end of the day,
absolutely.
and I'm not going to be saying, like, you must accept this as
Right,
the fact.
for sure.
No, it's not. It's opinion-based. And I think that this Pinocchio version is, they want to adhere so much. When I said the words, I believe I used monopolizing nostalgia, yes, they see exactly what they want, like with Chad, like, I want to go back into that time where I was a kid. That's exactly what they wanted to do, and they succeeded. It's just, if you want to watch the original, Disney Plus is right there for the original.
Because kind of like what a lot of these movies that they bring to life, like Mulan or even Cruella, they do kind of veer off into a different storyline, even though it's not exactly the same like the cartoon version.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like for Pinocchio, it was they wanted to adhere so much, a little bit, like, new things, new characters here and there. Monstro the giant whale, if you remember, has tentacles now, and it's really wings. It's strange. It's very odd.
So I watched part of this movie.
Oh, you did?
Over the weekend, but I fell asleep. So I don't know if I liked it that much.
So it's a movie to avoid.
Yes.
I guess so. Or I'm
Or a
just
movie
really
to put you to
sleepy.
sleep.
Do you think kids would like this movie though? Because I remember when I was a kid, I never saw a movie I didn't like. I basically like every movie, and I feel like most kids are that way.
Yeah, you know what? Probably that to be the case. But if you're the parent, just go watch the original Cliff Edwards singing When You Wish Upon a Star. That's just gold to me. Such gold.
All right, well, we're going to keep talking with Manning over the next 30 minutes or so. So drop a comment in the comment section of Facebook, and we will be right back.
Don't avoid us.
Yes. They don't even
Yeah,
explain,
this is
though.
his first year.
that-
This is his first year. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you hear me? There it is. Yeah, I sent it already. You good? It's on the way. Eligible.
All right, I am talking about death, how it brings people together. Does it?
everyone. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Tim Buckley and Chad Silber.
We're still recovering from that Pinocchio rating right there, but
I'm smelling it. It was roasted. It was roasted.
Have you ever had roasted wood? Because that's what it tastes like, right? Pinocchio, the roasted puppet. Anyway, this half hour we are talking about James Taylor at the White House. I'm not going to tell you why. That's your tease. So stay tuned. All right. Even though we are only 2 weeks into the new school year, lots of seniors are already thinking about what comes next. For many, that's college.
One local organization is helping Guilford County students get ahead with a way to get scholarship money. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey joins us with how it could help your student. Jalen.
Starting next year, Shift Ed will give more scholarship money than ever before to students right here in Guilford County. So far, the group has already given out $12.6 million to those in need. Now, hearing those kind of numbers might have you thinking, Jalen, how do I know if my student qualifies for this type of help? Well, let's take a listen.
They have to be enrolled in Guilford County schools. They have to have been enrolled since the 9th grade. They have to fill out a FAFSA and they have to complete our application. Really, that's all they have to have done. There's no GPA requirement. There's no essay. There's no recommendations. It'll take them about 5 to 10 minutes to complete the application for Shift Ed.
Shift Ed has been helping students for years, but here's what makes next year different.
This scholarship model ensures that 90% of our dollars that we pay out of our corpus at Shift Ed will go to families that make $150,000 or less. And within that, 40% of the dollars that we spend will go to families that make $40,000 or less. And those would typically be our full Pell Grant eligible students.
And a bonus for those Pell Grant eligible students who have capitalized on this program in the past, they received an extra $350 acceleration grant. However, this year they will receive $1,250 in supplemental grants. The Shift Ed application opens December 1st.
Jalen, thank you. There is one scholarship application open right now. It's the Rick Bannell Memorial Scholarship worth $10,000. The Charlotte Hornets actually started it last season as a way to pay tribute to a former Hornets beat writer. Interested students who are interested in journalism can apply through October 28th. This time of year made me nervous when I was a senior. It was very nerve-wracking just to think about college, have no idea where I was going, scholarships because you need them, so I can relate.
Yeah, if you had a mother like mine who's a principal, she was always saying, you need to fill this scholarship out, you need to fill this scholarship out. They really stayed on top of me about filling out whatever I could. Even if I didn't think I qualified, I was filling it out.
And I know I had a little bit of different experience from you too, just being an athlete and getting ready to go to school. But still just first figuring out what's the best fit for me, what's going to be the best for my academic and then my athletic career, and then where is going to be able to give me the most funds.
Yeah.
And those all play into this, but knowing and having these type of supplemental funds in your back pocket only makes the decision easier. So I wish I was a little bit more aware of these type of opportunities so I could have jumped on them.
Do they still send out in the mail college acceptance letters, or is it through email?
I would
That's a great question.
I mean, now, you know, everything's on the computer, but there's just something about opening up that mail.
Oh, absolutely.
Saying, I got accepted and doing that dance.
Some of them have like glitter and confetti that pop out.
And when it's thick, that's when you know you got in.
That's when you know.
Could be a chance that you didn't make the cut.
Kayana just said that she got hers digitally.
Oh,
so
wow. Maybe that's a thing. I can't remember. I know that I got some of them in the mail, but maybe some of them online.
I remember checking that mailbox every day coming home from school.
And it would be so great because my mom, she's very, very proud of my brother and I, just at everything that we do. So when we'd come home from school, we'd have the letters like on the table. She like, here it is, let's see what happens, what we gonna do. And then it was just a big celebration, big hugs, and just, it was great.
Did y'all ever get rejected from a school?
So I was not rejected, I got deferred.
Oh,
they deferred
like the
me.
wait list or
yes,
something?
Yeah.
The University of Miami, the only school.
So for undergrad, I got into all schools, but for grad school, I got rejected from one and waitlisted to another. But, you know, I ended up going to Syracuse, so it all worked out in the end.
Right, everything happens for a reason, right?
Well, let's get to your headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. We are also learning more about a crash that killed 3 people, including a 7-week-old baby. Police say it happened last night on West Moore Street in Graham. One car crossed the center line, hit another car, and then caught on fire. A 23-year-old woman and the child died at the scene. A 43-year-old man was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. There were no other people involved in the crash.
I want to show you the latest COVID data from the state. This graph shows COVID hospitalizations at the state level. The latest patient count right here in the red is 1,068. It's 73 fewer than yesterday and the lowest number the state has reported in a week, but the progress has been really hard to come by over the past few weeks. I was tracking a gradual decline from mid-August to early September, but the last week kind of screwed that up. Here's the 2-week moving average. The dotted line you see here represents an average of the last 14 days. We'd seen a nice dip for a while recently, but you can see all the way at the end of this graph, it is now leveling off.
Here's a live look from London where mourners are paying their respects for the late Queen Elizabeth. As you can see, the camera is now on the coffin. We have the crown from her coronation. And then we can see thousands of people have gathered from all around the world to pay their respects. Her coffin is now at Westminster Hall, the last destination before her funeral on Monday. We will air the service in its entirety right here on WFLY News 2. Coverage starts at 6 a.m.
Well, the death of Queen Elizabeth has put the spotlight on the royal family, particularly the relationship between Prince Harry and his father, King Charles, and brother Prince William. Now, some have wondered whether they are trying to make amends. Now, if that happens, it's certainly possible the death of the Queen played a role in this. Blanca Cobb is joining me now to talk about that today. So what is it, Blanca, about death that can bring people closer together?
Death brings about reflection. You start reflecting on your life. You start reflecting on the relationship with the person who passed. You start reflecting on people who are close to you or are not close to you. And sometimes you get overwhelmed with feelings like guilt and regret, and you want to make a difference. You want to have a different way of living as a result. And so sometimes people will say, maybe I want to mend fences with whoever they're on the outs with.
And so sometimes I would imagine that closeness can be short-lived. What would play a role in that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chad. So what happens is you can feel close during the crisis. This is when you need each other. This is where you come together to support each other emotionally, right? But then when people start feeling better, then they reflect, but in a different one. They're like, maybe I don't want to get close to this person, or maybe the person does something and it triggers a memory of how things used to be. And so they start taking a step back, if you will, and saying, I'm not so sure this is the type of relationship I really want to have with this person.
So how do you handle that if you're in that situation where you notice that the problems you thought were gone are coming back?
In that situation, let's say you got close to somebody, and then after a period of time when people are starting to feel better and life seemingly goes back to the way it was, then you might want to reflect and say, what's the difference? What's the change? But also talk to them. But start with how you feel, how it made you feel. For example, Chad, I'm feeling like we've gotten closer over the past few weeks and I felt great about it. It made me feel like we got over that hump. But then recently I started noticing that you're pulling away, and I'd like to get a better sense of how you're feeling and how you're seeing the situation. So then I open up the door for you to come and say whatever it is on your mind, and then see if you guys can move forward together. Or in this situation, since I'm using you and I as example, whether you and I can move forward together or not.
Do you have any advice for people who maybe want to take that step to get close with someone that they have been separated with, but there's really just a wall there and the other side doesn't seem to want to commit to that?
That's really hard, because if somebody has locked the door and they're the only one with the key, if you will, it's hard for you to find a key. But in those situations, it's really paying attention to them and how they're feeling and how they're interacting with you, and how you can be sensitive to what you're feeling from them, and then just have those little bits of discussion to try to open up that door and see where that goes.
As always, Blanca, great advice. Thank you. You can continue to ask her any follow-up questions on her Facebook page. Just search Blanca Cobb, body language expert.
I think a lot of folks have been taking advantage of our change in weather throughout the course of this week. Of course, it's been cooler, more fall-like, especially in the mornings. The tricky part about this time of year is you may dress one way to start the day, and then you step outside around lunchtime and you say, wow, it really warmed up. That's kind of where we are right now. Of course, the morning was in the 50s. Right now we're closer to 80 degrees across much of the area, some upper 70s as well, and there's still not humidity to deal with, so we have a nice breeze to keep us pretty comfortable, especially if you're in the shade. Tonight will be the same. Overnight lows just a touch warmer, but still cool in the upper 50s to mid 50s, depending on where you are. Now the forecast for tomorrow, no changes, will be in the upper 50s in the morning, upper 70s to low 80s for the afternoon. So the good times keep on rolling for Friday and into the weekend. Coming up, we're going to talk more about the tropics where things are getting busier.
All right, and we are back with movie critic Manning Frank. So Manning, what are folks buzzing about on the live stream?
Well, one thing that I asked them, and as we were talking about for Pinocchio, what are your favorite live action Disney remakes, readaptations, etc.?
Okay.
One of the ones that I saw a lot that came up, 101 Dalmatians from the 90s with Glenn Close. Classic one. I know you haven't seen it, Chad, but you do.
I have seen it. I have it on VHS
yes.
at my parents' house.
That was a great one as well too. That was from Melita. She'd mentioned that one. From Elizabeth, she had said that one of her favorites was actually The Lion King that came out in 2019. But she made an excellent point. Even though it's not technically live action, but it's photorealistic because they didn't film lions, you know? Back then, 2019, they're not going to go out and take their cameras in the savannah and film lions. It's all photorealistic, so it's technically an animated, but it's live action at the same time.
Interesting.
It is interesting when you think about it, you know?
Going back to your review of Pinocchio, were you surprised that you were going to have the reaction that you did, the negative reaction?
I'm not as surprised. I will say I came in with the notion of like, I hope that they don't go for a shot-for-shot remake, and it wasn't shot-for-shot, of course, but similar to The Lion King or similar to some ones they've done in the past, like The Beauty and the Beast I'd mentioned. Sometimes they kind of lean into the ones they know that have nostalgia to them, and they'll kind of recycle a lot of the same plot beats and whatnot.
My question to you is the fact that this went straight to a streaming service rather than theater. Do you think any of that has to do with it? Because I know when they're usually in the theater, they go out with a bang.
Yes and no. Yes, mainly because I think that there was intentional because that was Disney Plus Day when it came out last week. So they wanted people to be like, hey guys, it's Disney Plus Day. Thor: Love and Thunder came to Disney Plus that day. So they wanted to hype it up because they really want people to get on Disney Plus because, listen, hey, kids are going to be watching Moana for the 100th time, Frozen 2. I love Moana.
Moana's great.
It was. Yeah, Chad, you got to watch that one. It is great.
So many things I have to watch. You guys are keeping me on my toes. All right, Manning, we appreciate it. You can continue the conversation on Facebook. While you're there, search for the 4 to 5 Club and join our group. We have 1,200 members and we're trying to get to 1,500. We'll be right back.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Whoa, you know, when you hear that pomp and circumstance music and you see someone walking to the presidential podium, but it's not the president, it's North Carolina's own James Taylor. What? James Taylor, a Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, sang at the celebration for the Inflation Reduction Act. Who knew? And then he made his own statement.
The world needs to get together and respond to the climate crisis. And I think that that people should look at it as a great opportunity for us to come together to protect our home.
After a few songs, President Biden told the crowd Taylor has a voice that heals our soul and unites a nation, and he called the singer a good friend. I got to tell you, this is not his usual concert venue, right? The South Lawn of the
Right.
White House.
Very, very, professional.
And the only people in the audience are journalists.
Pretty much, yes. And they did clap very professionally and very nicely, like we know we were supposed to clap because you're
typically
here.
journalists at the White House aren't clapping for anything, no
Yeah.
matter who's the president.
Right, it doesn't matter, right? That's the whole thing. All right, so he's still on tour, believe it or not, James
Wow.
Taylor
Wow.
is. He was at Fenway Park not too long ago. He's in Spain later this week, and then he's got like a whole world tour that's going on this fall.
So he is all over the place.
Yes.
That's wild. You know what that reminds me of? So they just announced Luke Combs as the writer, or the picker.
What are you saying, Chad?
The guest picker for App
Game
State.
Day.
Well, he's playing in Wisconsin Friday night.
Okay.
And Saturday night.
Oh, so he's flying.
Quickly coming down here, picking his winners, and then going back.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what you got to do for the home team, right?
A day in the life of
I
of
know.
a celebrity, right?
No kidding. All right, you know what? As we go to break, let's give a quick listen to James Taylor at the White House.
Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things that come in my
We are taking another live look from London, where mourners are paying their respects for the late Queen Elizabeth. As you can see, not too much has changed since we last checked in. Thousands of people from all over the world continue to gather to pay their respects to the late Queen. Her coffin is now at Westminster Hall, the last destination before her funeral on Monday. We will air the service in its entirety right here on WFNY News 2. Coverage starts at 6 a.m. In the meantime, we'll continue live coverage of her tribute throughout the week.
Little weather update for you. Our weather continues to be nice through the weekend and into early next week. So I want to talk tropics with you. This is Fiona, just formed yesterday, has gotten a little bit stronger in the last advisory, which just came in. Winds are now at 60 miles per hour. Pretty disorganized though. The center of the storm swirling right there is lopsided. So we have thunderstorms only on one side of the system because winds are blowing them onto one side. That means it's harder for it to strengthen a little bit. All you need to know is for this weekend, it's going to be moving into the Caribbean. That's Puerto Rico. The Virgin Islands are over in this direction. That is the Dominican Republic. Now notice by Tuesday of next week, we have to start paying attention. And the reason I say that is if it curves out to sea, we'll be fine. But if it keeps on going farther off to the north and to the west, we do have something to keep an eye on in North Carolina. All of those options are on the table right now, and we'll have to keep you updated over the next week. But in the meantime, don't worry about anything. Nice weather continues heading into next week.
All right, for our grand finale here, we are checking in again with movie critic Manny Franks. You're getting a lot of comments on Facebook.
Yes, one of the things that I saw was I was having a discussion with people along the lines of what their favorite live-action Disney remakes are. Again, a mouthful, but you know, what else are you going to call them? Is what everyone's favorite was. And I know by default we had yours, Shad.
So default, I've only seen one live-action movie, and it was Alice in Wonderland. But it was really good, so it might be the top one, even if I saw the others.
Okay, ooh, that's
I got more to add to your list. So Cinderella with Brandy from the 1990s, that is my overall favorite. But Cruella with Emma Stone, I watched it 3 times in a row.
And
I just love the music, and I just like Emma Stone. She's awesome.
The vibe on that movie is immaculate. And when I say that, the costumes, the production, chef's kiss.
They did a great job.
It's actually probably my favorite as well too. And then also the Cinderella with, I believe, Lily James, which is kind of like a very just a little modernized take on Cinderella from like I believe the 50s when the original one came out. Don't quote me on that though. But yeah, it is definitely probably my favorite Cruella, which I think it's a really ingenious take. It's still Cruella de Vil, but it's a little bit
young. It's a little more hip,
different.
Even though it's based in the time frame that the story was written. It still has that like young vibe to it.
Wait, is Beauty and the Beast one?
It is one, yes.
I saw that one.
Wait, you did?
Look
the
at
remake.
You probably have seen more than us.
Alice in Wonderland or Beauty and the Beast? Which one? Quickly.
Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
Just because I like that storyline better.
I do like Alice in Wonderland a lot.
Yeah.
That one is one of my favorites.
The Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat is great.
You smile like him?
No.
As you take us out?
Yeah, okay. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow, people.
It's more like the Joker.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-14.
There's your mic check. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hi there, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. I'm in the A block, aren't I? Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
Two deadly traffic crashes within 12 hours of each other across the Triad.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. I was just told that I'm moving to Y for my tag. I wasn't told myself, but I'm Claire. I was told by Chad.
Hey, 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1, 10-9-8-7-6-5.
The last 2 weeks have been a roller coaster for App State fans. First, what some are calling the greatest football game ever played between two North Carolina football teams, UNC at App State. It was a redemption game for Carolina after App beat them in their own house a few years ago. Boy, was it a barn burner. UNC pulled out the thrilling victory 63-61. Obviously, App fans were devastated, but what a game. Then last weekend, the Mountaineers went down to College Station and absolutely stunned number 6 Texas A&M. They're calling it the second biggest upset in App State school history, obviously behind that win at Michigan in 2007. The icing on the cake came hours after the game when ESPN announced College Game Day would be coming to Boone this weekend for the first time in history. The atmosphere up on the mountain is already electric on game day, but I can't even imagine what this Saturday will be like. I can't wait to see it for myself. And if I don't have a voice on Monday, you'll know why. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Two deadly traffic accidents within 12 hours of each other across the Triad. 4 people are dead, including a 7-week-old baby. What we know.
A warning for parents tonight. You might think you're trying to be healthier, making your own baby food, but you should really hear what experts have to say first. Plus, our Triad districts, they are trying to still find missing students. They haven't seen them since before the pandemic. The tools they're using in the search.
Triad students have been back in the classroom for a few weeks now, and getting back in the group hasn't been smooth sailing for everyone.
Yeah, when it comes to problems with transportation,